All right, today we're going to be painting the Mounted Knight from the Joan of Arc series, and I primed it with an ivory or gray will work. We're going to be going over it all with an opaque paint, starting with silver. This is Vallejo metal colors, just the silver. It has good coverage. It is thin, so you just have to be careful not to go over any unnecessary areas. But starting with the metals, anything that we accidentally get the silver on, we'll be able to go over with another opaque paint. So just a quick application, all over application for the armor on the knight itself. And I also painted the weapon. Seeing some other people's design, they paint on like colorful colors, which would make sense. At first I was thinking it'd be a metallic lance, but it would be wooden and therefore probably painted something else. So whatever you want. Once they're on the table, they'll be looking good. So we get the shield. We'll be going over the little crossed area with the dark blue later. And we get the armor for the horse as well. Again, just, you know, the only skill that we need right here is brush control. So just, you know, we want to minimize the amount of slop that we might have. And make sure you get the back of the shield, the legs, comparing it with a finished model. Make sure we got it all right. Now we want to paint. I'm going to point out some small areas. There's two parts to the saddle. The smaller interior kind of part, I use this yellow ochre. All the other opaque paints I'll be using are from Pro Acryl. But the yellow ochre is just in these small areas. You don't have to be too neat with this because there is a darker trim that we'll be painting next. But it'll just get covered over, so just kind of get your brush in there, get those little areas. This is probably one of the smaller details that I do to kind of differentiate the different areas of the saddle. Now we're using a mahogany, just a red-brown kind of color for the trim of the saddle, as well as the back part of the saddle kind of sticks out, so there's a little area there. And also you'll see I'll paint the bridle, the horse's bridle, so it's just a darker leather color of brown that I use here. And just, you know, being kind of careful, but you know, we have a lot of these to paint, so just kind of getting in there quickly. This video is at 2x speed. This is not my actual painting skill or speed. So just get the trim there, being careful with that. Also, there's a stirrup that I paint leather, just because I have all that silver on the knight's leg, and so this just kind of sets it off. And this is the bridle on the horse. I actually miss a spot and have to go back later, but that's not a problem. So that's the saddle. And then now, one of the larger parts is the armor, the horse blanket. So this is just a dark blue, any kind of dark blue, and just to go along with the art that is on the player card. Cutting in the areas away from the saddle, away from the horse's the tail and the leg. Also the blanket, it's flipped up. You'll see that. And the underside of the blanket, we're going to paint an ivory color. So we just want to be careful when we're painting around that. There are some small details. I think I show one of them. It's like the fringe of the this blanket, and show you. It's just it's kind of like a square pattern, and you know that's kind of I think it's this area right now. This is just a little strip, so you'll see. And it's up to you how much of the details you want. Of course, the blue area on the shield. All my knights I painted the same, basically the same. Some of the lances I've painted different colors. I didn't paint like a set of English and a set of French knights. I just have them all the same. Check back, make sure all my pieces work out, all the parts. And here we go. We're going to just, we got a small amount of paint at the tip of the brush, and we're just going to go in there, get the recessed part, and then just connect all those right there. There's several areas, 4 areas, maybe 6 areas like this. So I think I have one in the video here. But just carefully getting all areas and of course both sides of it. All right. Now we're going to paint the horse. Everything's going to get just a light black wash to include the horse, but just to show some of the definition, I wanted it to be a different color. So this is bright warm gray from Pro Acryl. And once I put the wash on it, it just kind of sets off the details, the leg muscles and such there. This is a pretty easiest, the legs, the tail. Also there's an area around the head area of the horse. As well, you could just do an all over if you want, all over base coat. I use the airbrush on these guys to prime, and you could just start with this color and skip this step. Save you a few minutes. Then after that, we'll go with the ivory, which is the underside of the horse blanket. Now we just have to be a little more careful because we have different colors on our model, and we don't want to have to go back and clean up, even though I do. I think I got blue on one of the ivory areas, and so I'll just get a cover over it now. The little fringe, just being careful in that area there. I painted the base. I went back and actually, because I just have a dirt, I put a little bit of texture on the base. So I'm just going back over it actually with the same mahogany that I used earlier for the saddle. Of course, I'll put a little bit of green flock on there after I glue it to the base, because there's 2 of these per circular base. So just kind of get in there. And then I take just some black for the hooves, and also there's a stand where it's connected. I just paint it black as well. And this is going to complete all the base colors. And then we're going to apply a light dark wash. And with these small models, as you'll see, I don't do any highlighting. I have too many. I have hundreds of these models to paint, and I paint them as I need them for scenarios, and so I don't see the need really to go and put any highlights. Plus, the model is so small, the contrast would have to be just incredibly stark. So I go with just a plain Nuln oil from Games Workshop wash, and I totally cover everything. Now, I was only painting one model today for this video, so I'm brushing on, but if I had a number of these, I don't know, if I had 10 or more, I would probably, I'd probably create my own wash and put it in and use the dipping method where you would literally dunk the whole model in the liquid into the wash or the shade, and then just kind of like flick the model to get the excess off, or you could brush it off or whatever. You know, if you're doing 10 or 20 or more of these and you could save 1 minute, it probably took me 2 minutes, I would say, for this one model. Well, just think, if you could save a minute or a minute and a half per model and you're doing 20 of these, you know, you're saving some serious time. And just something to consider, you know, when we're trying to get through our pile of unpainted models, because we want to play with these great models. So here we have the finished product. I hope this was helpful for you, and my advice and encouragement is to get out there and just put some paint on some of these models, and that way you can enjoy your game. Take care.